Well, well, well. We find ourselves back here still talking about this whole Bayonetta 3 controversial, chaotic situation. And somehow things have gotten even messier since the last video I made, which was the day after this whole thing kicked off, when the original voice actress, Helena Taylor, as we know, made a couple of very infamous Twitter videos discussing that she was lowballed to come back and play Bayonetta one more time in Bayonetta 3. She accused Platinum and Hideki Kamiya of not respecting her with a proper amount of pay, and everyone got pissed, and everyone said they were going to boycott the game because she asked for people to boycott the game, which I still think was wrong. She also then went after the new voice actress Jennifer Hale, which I also still think was wrong. But now it's coming out that maybe, and the key word is maybe, because at this point, I'll be real with you guys, we still don't know what is actually true. But now, some research is showing that maybe Platinum did offer more money than she was claiming, which means perhaps she was lying. So was Platinum and Nintendo lying when they said that she wasn't available for it? Is she lying when she said that she was offered only $4,000? It's crazy, and so I want to talk about some of these updates and what it might actually mean. So we all know the story. This thing grew like wildfire. I guarantee if you're watching this video, you already know the details in the background, and with any luck, you maybe even also saw my video. So on top of everyone else's discussions, you hopefully have even seen mine. You know what's going on. I don't need to give you the backstory. The main update is that Jason Schreier with Bloomberg did some reaching out to some folks at Platinum and maybe even Nintendo and whatnot, and there are, to be fair, and this is where things get a little bit murky, there are some unnamed sources who have given some sort of insight into maybe what actually happened behind closed doors, and it does contradict what Helena Taylor herself said. And again, it's kind of a messy situation, and I'm going to continue to discuss my personal thoughts on both sides of what may or may not be true. So I do think it's worth discussing what these unnamed sources at Platinum say happened, and then, of course, Helena Taylor's own response to even that, and continue to dive deeper into this very dirty, messy, and uncomfortable scenario. So here is a quote from what Jason Schreier's article at Bloomberg actually says, and I'm going to link that below for you to read, but here's some of the bullet points. According to Jason Schreier's unnamed sources, they say, Platinum Games sought to hire Taylor for at least 5 sessions, each paying $3,000 to $4,000 for 4 hours in the studio, said the people who asked not to be identified because they aren't authorized to discuss private contract negotiations. That would make the total for the game at least $15,000. In response, they said Taylor asked for a 6-figure sum, as well as residuals on the game. Platinum declined and, following lengthy negotiations, took auditions for a new actor. Platinum later offered Taylor a cameo in the game for the fee of 1 session, which she turned down. Now here's Helena Taylor's quick response. In an email, Taylor described this account as, quote, an absolute lie, and said Platinum was trying to save their ass and the game. She said she stood by everything she said in the video. Quote, I would like to put this whole bloody franchise behind me and quite frankly get on with my life in the theater. So, boy oh boy, does this potentially change a lot of things, because Helena Taylor claimed that she was only offered $4,000 for the entire game. Platinum now, or at least these unnamed sources, so how verified can this be? Jason Schreier has a great track record, that is for sure, but we don't truly know the validity behind this, even though there is also great reason to believe it. So I'm not going to make a stance on what is definitively true, whether Helena Taylor is being accurate or whether this article is being accurate, even though VGC also corroborated this information with what they claim to be different unnamed sources. So again, the true truth is still unknown. We just now have 2 accounts, right, that definitely oppose each other. So I'm not going to state that one should be believed more than the other, because I think that would be foolish. We're just going to go off of these 2 accounts and discuss the differences between them. So Helena Taylor said she was offered $4,000 for the game. If that's true, it's wrong. And I claimed why I believe that was wrong, and Platinum and Nintendo would have been wrong to offer her only that amount, like I said in my video. Now, if this is actually the truth, that she was instead offered around $15,000 for the game, to me, I think that's obviously a heck of a lot better. I mean, the number I had in my head, again, without being a voice actor myself and knowing that the entire voice acting industry is underpaid as is, the number I had in my head as a fan and somebody who wanted to try to respect Helena Taylor's time and value was $15,000 to $20,000. Now, I'm not necessarily the barometer for what should be fair or not because, again, it's not my industry. But I do just want to state that my brain told me 15 to 20,000 maybe felt a little bit more fair, and they're saying $15,000 was the number that they're claiming they offered per unnamed sources. So to me, if the $15,000 offer is true and Taylor was not being honest with what she said in her videos, well, then that's a bad look for Helena Taylor because that means she was lying about the facts to try to make herself sound like she was wronged when maybe she wasn't. And $15,000 is more than triple what she claimed she was offered. And so things get definitely very messy when that happens. And like I said, I mean, maybe I tend to lean towards believing Jason Schreier's reporting and the sources who told him $15,000, in which case I think that Helena Taylor was wrong to claim what she claimed about the $4,000. But in her defense, and all we can do is go off of what everyone is claiming, she's claiming that it's not true, right? So it continues to be murky and muddy. I think it's a little bit silly for anyone to take these whole situations as fact, right? I mean, whether Platinum was wrong to offer her $4,000 or whether Helena Taylor was wrong to lie because she was actually offered $15,000, we don't know. And you either side with one or you side with the other based on what you believe, but nothing is fact. So I do think it's interesting that there is a chance Helena Taylor was lying about that sum. And if she was lying, then that sucks and it's a terrible look for her. Now, what I do want to double down on from at least my personal perspective from my video that I made is that what we do know is a fact, this is unequivocally true, is that Helena Taylor, not only did she ask for a boycott of the game that I still think was wrong, even if she was lowballed. I made that last video thinking that she was probably being honest because why would we have thought she was lying at that time? And if she was lowballed, I still think it was wrong of her for her to ask people to boycott the game, which is why I never intended to boycott the game, and I'm still happy to play and buy it and enjoy it. And the other thing we know she did is she went after Jennifer Hale very inappropriately. And so regardless of whether or not this Bloomberg article and these unnamed sources are true or not, what is true is Helena Taylor was, in my opinion, wrong to ask for the boycott and, in my opinion, wrong to have gone after Jennifer Hale. All of that stuff, to me, remained true from the first day she made those videos, and it is still true now, again, in my opinion. If you differ on this, that's fine. We can only talk about the facts. And I just think that she did factually say boycott, and she factually said Jennifer Hale doesn't have a right to claim the character and can't sign autographs as the character. To me, that's all bullshit. I just don't buy it. That wasn't an okay thing for her to say, even if she was offered the insulting amount of $4,000. With this new information, all we can do is look at these two situations and say, if person A is being truthful, then I believe this. If person B is being truthful, then I believe this, which is why I'm not going to believe any of them at this point. It's almost silly to do so. If people like who came out not unnamed, let's say Hideki Kamiya, who was, by the way, still an asshole, and I still don't like that guy, but if he came out and said that this is what happened, or somebody with a known position and name came out on the record and said this is what happened, that would be a different story. But the fact that it's still mysterious, murky, people cloaked in shadow behind the scenes claiming it was $15,000 and not $4,000, it just means that the situation is unclear. I maybe lean towards believing it just because, again, Jason Schreier has a good track record, but that doesn't mean his sources were being honest. So it's just still very, very messy, and it honestly makes this whole situation messier because now everyone's going back and forth and claiming this person lied and that's a lie and this is a lie and I said I would boycott, now I'm not going to boycott, and the people who claimed they were going to boycott are in an even more awkward position than they already were because do they retract their boycotts? And my whole opinion is I don't think we should blame anyone necessarily for maybe initially wanting to boycott. Because I think that people are allowed to have made an emotional knee-jerk reaction initially, and then with new information, change their minds. If we don't allow people the ability and the freedom to change their minds and perspectives and their viewpoints and opinions when new information is introduced, then what are we as a human race? We're basically animals at that point. It's crazy. We have to allow people to change their minds. My mind is not changing because I was never going to boycott the game, and I always thought that $4,000 was an insultingly low number. Whether it's true or not isn't even the case. If the point is that number still would be low if it was what she was offered. But I'm not changing my mind. However, other people might now be changing their mind. And I'm not the freaking YouTube police. I'm not the boycott police. I don't want to tell people what to do, man. If they felt that they wanted to stand by her because they believed her and they felt boycotting the game was right for their personal views, that's fine, because I even believed Helena Taylor. I believed her $4,000 claim. So if people who genuinely believed her were only trying to do what they thought was right, and now with new information, maybe they have a reason to think, okay, I was duped and lied to by this person, so now I want to play the game that was exciting to me. And so this is the messiness, but my personal opinion is I don't want to crucify anyone who was going to boycott and is now going to change their mind. This information changes things. We have to allow people the ability to admit a mistake and then change their mind with new information. And so I want to end this update conversation with two final points. One final point is clearly voice actors are still underpaid. No matter what the real truth is between Platinum and Nintendo and Helena Taylor and Jennifer Hale and the actual money offered and declined. Apparently Helena Taylor also was asking for like $100,000 instead of the $15,000. Man, I don't even know. I'm not even going to touch that because I just don't know enough at this point, other than to say I do still believe that in a world where she was offered only $4,000 for the entire role, I do think that was insulting, but maybe that's not true. So, going back to the larger picture, voice actors are clearly underpaid in the gaming industry, and I think that sucks, and the SAG-AFTRA union is clearly not necessarily doing right by all of its voice acting union members, and I think that the industry and the budgets for games need to be more appropriately handled so that people who have voice acting value to your games are getting paid appropriately and being paid living wages. So that part is still true no matter who's being honest or dishonest in this whole Platinum versus Helena Taylor situation. So I do think it's right for us to stand by voice actors and demand that they get paid more appropriately for the value they're bringing to these games. We get to enjoy these games as a privilege and as a hobby, and the people who put in their blood, sweat, and tears to make everything from the voice acting to the coding to the graphics to the whatever, everyone deserves to be paid appropriately for the work that they do because we are fortunate enough to enjoy the fruits of their efforts. And I do believe that people should be paid more for the value they bring to gaming, including voice actors and people like Helena Taylor. They deserve proper value for what they do. The last thing I want to leave everyone on is the most important element to all of this to me, which is that Bayonetta 3 is going to be a fucking awesome game. And I'm so excited to play it. I hope you are excited to play it. I'm glad that in a way, a weird backhanded roundabout way, this actually brought a lot of positive exposure to the game. And now it's selling more and pre-ordering more and it's sold out on Amazon and probably more people are going to buy and experience this great looking game. Like I said in my last video, I never questioned the quality of this game from the first time I saw it. I know some people were kind of iffy on if it looked good. I thought it looked good from the first frame I ever saw and every trailer since. I can't wait. This to me is going to be going head to head with Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok as probably my game of the year. It's either going to be one of those three games, I'm sure of it. Right now, it's Elden Ring, but God of War and Bayonetta 3 are right around the corner. And now that we can hopefully in the next couple of days put this whole dumb, ugly thing behind us, hopefully voice actors start to get paid more, and hopefully Bayonetta 3 is as awesome as it looks, and more people play it, and more people buy it, and it just helps further the continuation of this franchise no matter what. That's what I think. Tell me what you think, and with that, this video is a wrap. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.